Hi, for my submission, I tried to replicate Google's NotebookLM. So I built this system. It has a local vector database. It has an ingestion engine. And then it uses GEMMA for function calling, for agentic capabilities, and for thinking and reasoning. So what you're currently looking at is the mirror app for the MacBook. So this application is actually running physically on my iPhone 13 Pro Max. These are already files I've ingested into this application. Now, it's not just about ingesting the files, but it's about ingesting them and then trying to understand what the files are talking about, making sense of it, just like NotebookLM. So if I go into any of these folders, let me say serverless here. If I go to the study hub, I can see that I've generated flashcards, which a student can actually use to understand the document better, quizzes, and these quizzes actually have accomplishment badges, which we'll look at later. It has a summary, which you can play and listen to. Let me just play this one.
This study summary focuses on using the Amazon.
Stop. And then it has a workshop, which a student can actually go through stepwise to properly understand the document. But let's not look at what I've already generated. Let's create a new one from scratch. I love reading white papers. So let's head over to the AWS white paper website and grab a white paper. So I've already done this. I actually came here and grabbed the AWS overview. I want to understand all the services that AWS has to offer. This overview of AWS Web Services, this document. So I've downloaded this document and then I've shared it to my physical device. So what I'll do is I'll click on this button and then I'll select the document. But before selecting the document, I'll just like to give a name of that folder. So I'll call this AWS over Services Overview. Click on this. And this is the document. So I'll click on it and the ingestion pipeline will start. The document has finally been broken down into chunks, and those chunks have been converted to vector embeddings, and those vector embeddings have been saved into the vector database. Let's go ahead now and work with the document, go back and forth with it and see how we can understand it. Also, as you can see, we have a new folder here. It's called AWS Services Overview. So for the first step, now I want to play with the document a little bit. This is another view of the document where it just shows us the study hub. You can delete it or you can query the document. If it's in this mode, you bring it up as a bottom modal. So query the AWS services document, and here I would like to say summarize 10 AWS services mentioned within the AWS overview doc. And I'll hit search. And here I want you to take note of the thinking. Yeah, the thinking process. And now it's generating the response. This is great. We can fold this thinking. But I want to go deeper. Like, how about we create a workshop, explaining that's with lessons concerning this document. So go back and then we go to Open Study Hub and we'll generate a workshop. Okay. So I want it to be intermediate and it should have a number of lessons, 6. So create. And great. Our workshop has generated, and as you can see, it has generated 6 lessons. And for these lessons, if I click on a lesson, it will start generating the lesson as well. Perfect. It has generated the lesson, which I can also listen to if I want.
AWS Fundamentals, Building Blocks and Core Benefits. Welcome to the
So I've created a workshop alongside lessons. Let's go ahead and look at how to create flashcards. So I'll click on cards and it will start generating in the background. So what happens here is that we're using a custom interface. I mean, it's almost close to generative UI to intercept the response from GEMMA 4. Now, when the response comes from GEMMA 4, we intercept that response and then we dynamically create a UI, which are the cards. So once they're displayed, I'll show you. Now the flashcards have been created and we can look at it. So what is AWS fundamentally composed of? And AWS consists of many cloud services that can, you see, these are. So let's go ahead and create a quiz. Great. So the quizzes have been created. And one nice thing with this application is that as you're going through the workshops and the quizzes, you're earning badges as well. So if we go to the analytics, you'd see that I have a badge of workshop started, and then it has the daily activity. So you see how many hours I've actually spent on this application. It's really addictive, and it's something that I use on a daily basis now. There's a lot more that can be done with this application, but for now, this is what I could demonstrate. Thanks for watching.